And how browser does it? So when you make a HTTP request, all you get is a string in response, and that string is like uh, taken by a HTML parser and creates a tree out of it, which is an object tree. And then it is given to a JavaScript engine in terms of a DOM tree. And this is where our code comes in picture, where we end up playing with this DOM. We get this data structure, and this is where we read and we do write operations and everything to this DOM. And once that is done, browser ends up creating a render tree, which based on the information you got in DOM tree, it gets all the coordinate values and create this render tree. And based on it, it renders on the screen. And this particular event is called a cycle or animation frame. And in a single second, there'll be 60 frames will be created like this. So that means a single frame will take 16.67 milliseconds. So this is what we call one animation frame, and this will be constantly running every time. And anytime if you make any JavaScript change, and that will be picked and be executed in that particular cycle. But this cycle will be constantly running every time. And how do we see visual changes? When you make changes to this DOM tree. And browser knows to optimize here. Like if you make DOM changes, which is related to layout values like width, height, position, those things, uh, it do layout calculation. But if you make changes to paint related properties like background image, colors, text, it skips the layout step and directly go to paint. So this is one way browser optimizes the performance. Similarly, browser also optimizes the batch layout, like layouts. How it does? It batches the operation. It batches all the write operation. And let's start with the simple example, what I'm trying to say here. So this is your JavaScript code where you're in the line number 1, you're reading a DOM element. And then line number 2, you're getting the height of it. And line number 3, you're making a write operation, read and write operation. And then in line number 6, again, you're making a read operation. And line number 7, you're making a write operation. Now, moving from line number 3 to line number 6, browser knows that as a write operation happens. And now before it gives it needs to give the correct value at line number 6. So it has to do the entire layout again so that you'll get an updated value at line number 6. So what does this browser does two layout calculations here because of the way the code is written. How can we improve this? We know that in this code, the pop-up and the application is independent component. The pop-up is never, any changes to pop-up is never going to impact the parent because pop-up is always going to be a absolute element or it's going to be a fixed element or something like that. So what we do here is we reline our code. We do all the read operation first and then followed by write operation. In this way, the browser does only one layer calculation because it, the read to write is it's a stopping point for it to identify when exactly it needs to batch all the write operation. And that's what happens here.